All righty, so welcome everyone to our walk through a sheet of paper workshop. Today we're going to hear from our dean, Hani Asfour, but before we begin, just a few rules. Please have your mic off during the lecture. When you have any questions, you can use the chat box. And we'll be using two screens. So there's a screen called Hani, who will be Professor Hani talking. And then there's the screen called Drawing, where you will see some drawings when he wants to demonstrate it to you. And we'll be starting with a video first, and then I'll hand it over to Hani.
No great thing, no beautiful invention happened just like that. It happens when we leave our comfort zone and embrace change, creativity, and out of the ordinary. We live in interesting times. We live in a world that's constantly asking questions, that's constantly changing. In a world where blockchain and robots will be the norm, where 85% of tomorrow's jobs don't exist yet, where being multi-skilled is not just celebrated, but essential. At Dubai Institute of Design and Innovation, we believe that we need to prepare you for the future, to teach you skills that will power your tomorrow. Today, design matters more than ever. But how can design help, you may ask? We combine disciplines so you become well-rounded. From product design, multimedia design, fashion design, strategic design management, it's where you will learn how to merge different design disciplines. Presenting a 4-year Bachelor of Design degree in collaboration with MIT and Parsons' new School of Design. DIDI, not just another design university.
All right, Hani, over to you.
Thank you, Razan. Thank you for the introduction. And I'm so excited to be here with you all. Hopefully we'll have a fantastic workshop. Last time we did this workshop, we got a lot of good feedback. So this time is going to be better than last time. So last time was great. This time it's going to be hopefully greater. We'll hear from you in the end. So right now, I see that we have many people and I welcome you all. I wish I could see you all in person, one-on-one, so we can get to know each other. I'm happy that you are in a safe place and that we will have, we'll probably need around 1.5 hours to 2 hours because we'll be doing some exercises together. The way I like to run workshops is to actually give background, a historical background, before we jump right in. At the end of the session, you're going to walk through a sheet of paper, and I promise that you'll be able to do that. And if you think it's impossible, that's exactly what we want you to think, because at DIDI, impossible is nothing. So let's start. I'm going to share my slides at the moment, so you can have, hold on. Okay, that's why. Okay, I'm going to share my slides. Okay, 1 second. I look at the setup. Almost there. Just bear with me. Okay. No, it's not the slide I want to share. So sorry. Let's try again. All right, this one, found it. Okay, so today's workshop is about walking through a sheet of paper. And basically what we are trying to impart on you is the ability to think like a designer. Designers are deep thinkers and we think visually. We use our visual cortex in order to think. So it's not the customary way of thinking. So if you went to school and you discovered that you learn by observing, that's usually a sign that you have a designer mind. And if you learn by visual solutions and you're not crazy about, mathematical abstract solutions, that's usually a sign that you are designer. So if you come to design school, you feel completely normal for a change. So let's see. The first thing I want us to do is to go to, on your phones or on your laptops or wherever you are digitally, to go to menti.com, MENTI.com. When you go there, enter the code 497035. This is one of the things we're going to do today. We're going to do some Menti, which is basically a way of checking in and making sure that we're all on the same page. So there'll be this presentation and then this presentation. So I'll be switching between slides. And I wonder if there's a way in Zoom just to, yeah, I see lots of people coming there. Excellent, 497035. Excellent, keep coming, that's great. You guys are good. You're digiratis already. So I'm going to switch sharing, share the other slide. Yeah, so now you can see that you are 14 people and there are more coming, sending love. That's wonderful. Excellent. Okay, great. Almost 30 people. Okay, so I think we can Why am I not able to? Okay, keep coming. While you are doing that, I will make sure that, where are the controls? There are the controls. Okay. So the first question I have for you, my friends, is what do you expect to learn today? This is going to be word cloud. So just type in, you have a chance to type in what you think you're going to learn today. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So just go ahead and type. Are people typing? Oh, yes. Design, basics of design. Excellent. I wish to explore, communicate, experiment, to think uniquely, communicate, innovation, experiment, anything. Good. Great. Things to do with paper. Yeah, we'll do some of that. The world in a different approach to unleash the stereotype. Think outside the box. Visual design, proportions. Yeah, we're going to do proportions. Learn about origami. Sorry, no, I don't know. I wish I knew origami. That's a beautiful skill. It's beautiful art. Look how many answers we have. Oh, you guys are amazing. Okay. Blow my mind. I hope so. I hope so. I hope. A golden ratio, definitely. We're going to talk about that. And if I missed the one you wrote, forgive me. It's just hard to see. So many beautiful answers. And art, golden ratio, quick design. Amazing. 50 responses. You guys are awesome. Good. So I'll keep that in mind. So the big ones are experiment, design, layouts, innovation, designing, creativity. All of these we're going to cover to a certain extent. So keep them coming. You can continue later, but we need to move to the next slide. So the next slide is basically the question about how well can you draw? So you have 4 different answers. that you can give me. I draw like an angel. I can visually express myself. You don't want me on your Pictionary team. I'm not creative at all. So let's see what we rank ourselves, each other. Rank yourself on that. Good. So I see the tendencies towards visual expression so far, which is excellent. This is exactly what will make you a good designer. If you can just express yourself visually, you don't have to draw like an angel, but I see so many of you can draw like an angel. That's wonderful. And if you feel not creative at all, that's perfectly fine, because many people come to design school feeling that way. And shortly after a few weeks, they realize, oh my God, I'm creative. I was just didn't think I was, because every human being is creative. This is God's gift to humanity. And if you know the story of Daedalus and Icarus, and a lot of mythology in Greece is about the Promethean fire and all these ideas that the gods, in the Greek tradition, the gods gave humans creativity, but we didn't know what to do with it. So that's why we had to be curbed. This is the Greek understanding. Amazing. So we have a tendency towards, I can express myself visually and I draw like an angel. Hopefully then, those of you who feel that way, that you won't find today's exercises boring, because in the beginning, we're going to do some drawing exercises just to loosen up. Okay, let's see what the next one is. And those of you, well, most of you said you are not creative, but maybe this answer doesn't work here anymore, but let's try it. I think I'm not creative because someone told me I cannot draw. I saw others draw better than me. I hate for my work to be judged. Actually, I think I'm super creative. And because of other reasons, I don't think I'm creative. So I would love to see what you would tell us about this. Okay, yes. Yeah, wow, okay, so yeah, the yellow just jumped immediately. Yeah, so yeah. And all the others are common things that happen while growing up. And I saw others draw better than me in quotation marks, because there is no better way to draw than the way you draw, as long as you can express yourself. And many of you said other reasons, which I don't know what they are. And I hate my work to be judged. And that's something that designers need to learn very quickly, to be receptive to feedback, receptive to people critiquing the work. And we have to let go of our connection with the work. I know it's hard, but design school teaches you that. It's one of the key things that we need to, because when you go out into the real world, guess what the client's going to do? They're going to be super, super judgmental. So you have to learn how to handle that, how to accept it, how to learn from it, because most of the time, the feedback is helpful to improve the project. And I see some people said, someone told me I cannot draw. Don't believe them, okay? So today I'm going to show that whoever told you that was not correct. All right, so thanks for checking in. And I'm going to switch screens again. Let me see what's next here. Maybe there's something else for us to do. No. Okay, so this doesn't make sense until we go back to the slides. So I'm going to switch screens again, back to the right. So what we're going to do today, my friends, is basically we're going to use a lot of our visual thinking. We're going to draw and we're going to make. The making is walking through the sheet of paper. That's the last exercise today. So what I want you to get out of this, if anything, is to realize how designers think. And from the data that you gave me already, I feel that I'm in good company, that a lot of you are already thinking like designers. And this is what we'll need today. You need a drawing space, like I have the drawing. There's a video view, which is the drawing. See, this is my hand here, so you can see me drawing. Can you see that? So make sure you have access to that. You have drawing paper and your tools. I have my orange pencil case, my scissors, and my colored markers, all my little toys. Even my sketchbook is here. Of course, it's orange. And what also you need to have is menti.com, which we already tried. That was a good exercise. And your drawing tools, which already I mentioned. The other thing that we need to do, what you will see today is the slides, which is what you're looking at now. You will need to see the drawing view, which is this one where my hand is now waving at you. And then we need you to see menti.com. So just to make sure you have the setup. If you need help with the setup or need time, just don't worry, we'll catch up with everyone. So let's start with understanding. Today we're going to walk through a piece of paper, and it's not as something as easy. So let's understand what paper is. We're going to talk about the golden ratio. Some of you had already anticipated that. Connecting it to the Fibonacci series, which is a number series from math. Look at combinations and show the difference between mathematical thinking and visual thinking. The result is the same, however, just the approach is different. I want you to realize how designers think. We're going to look at some color theory, some words. We're going to do some squiggle birds, stick figure, a face, and then walk through a paper. So all of these are warming us up to be able to go there. So the first thing I want to talk about is, as I mentioned, I always love to give some background, is that paper is special. So the first paper that we know of is the Egyptian papyrus, which is from around 3000 BC, which is around, that's 5,000 years ago. And the way the Egyptians did it, we think, is that they would take the lotus plant and then they would trim its stem, its green stem. And then they would place them on layers, cross layers. So one layer horizontally, and then another layer horizontally, but perpendicular to it. And then they would beat it with a gentle mallet. A mallet is a hammer, but it's flat and made of wood. And then what they do, it just breaks the fibers so they start mushing into each other. This is what it would look like when it's under process. And here you can see the lotus tree. And in the end, what you get is this papyrus, which if you've been to Egypt, a lot of souvenir stores actually provide them and sell them. And also, we know that the Chinese also invented paper 100 AD, which is around 2000 years ago. And the way the Chinese did it, and of course you use the resources available to you, they would use bamboo. They would cut the bamboo, then they would soak it. And this is from DK. If you know the book series DK, they're amazing. So I got this from there. And then you actually screen dip the pulp. So it's pulp, meaning it becomes very, very soft. And then it is pressed into sheets and dried. And then you have a big sheet of paper. So it's a different process, and it's a more refined paper than what the Egyptians were able to do. Here's an example of Chinese paper. Today, of course, paper is much more complex. It's a whole process that begins with getting raw materials, which is tree trunks, taking them to a paper mill, which basically follows the Chinese method of making the wood, turning it into pulp, and using recycled paper and mixing it with it. And then paper is created in the fabrication. I'll show you just some of the machines that they have. And then it's basically taken, to your home, etc. You recycle it. It's very important that we recycle paper. Please do that. Please be vigilant about that, because we can reuse all of that, and this helps us save trees. Now, some people argue, oh, but we're growing trees especially for paper mills. Yes, paper mills are very conscientious, and usually they have different orchards of trees, and they are timed so that they never cut more than a certain amount, and they don't take more trees, so they have their own trees. That said, the demand for paper continues to increase. So instead of cutting more and chopping trees and ruining the soil, recycling paper is a big source of making papers. I highly recommend that we are conscientious. That's my spiel for today. Here's what a paper mill looks like. You don't see this because you buy paper from the supermarket or from a shop where it comes in a ream in a package. But the paper makers, they make them into huge rolls, and then they distribute them to stationers and paper makers that cut them to the sizes and the standards. We're going to look at the sizes and standards. So please don't take a simple sheet of paper for granted. I mean, it is an amazing and humble and incredible invention. It actually changed the world through the things that we can do with it, from writing to making models to, I don't know, you can do so much with paper. Origami, someone said origami today, and that's a skill I wish I had. Maybe one day I'll take a workshop. So, and paper is like so many other great design objects. I have another sheet of paper, but this one happens to have a little sticky back. But the pencil, the Lego piece, the big pen, the simple paper clip, those are incredible inventions. These are incredible designs that we forget about. And here are some others, the sugar cube, the latte cap. I mean, okay, that pollutes like crazy. LED lights, the Band-Aid. I always have an issue since I was a kid with the color of the Band-Aids and the color that they come. It's like, hello, BLM. And then you have the football, and you have the Chupa Chups. You know what that is, right? The lollipop. And so this wonderful designer called Paola Antonelli, she's a curator of design at the MoMA, which is the Museum of Modern Art in New York. If you're ever in New York, make sure you stop at the MoMA. It's an incredible museum. And she wrote this book called Humble Masterpieces. And I want you, so here are some examples, the bubble wrap and the knife and the Lego and so many things. It's a great book. And I want you to think about this. Can you think of a humble, great design? So we're going to go to Menti now, and we're going to actually answer this question. So I'm going to share again. So we're going to Menti. Let's see what you guys got. Okay, so at Menti, can you think of a humble and great? Yes, tell me what it is. Circles. Chocolate. Oh, that's a good one. Now the lollipops got you hungry there. Clothing hangers. Excellent. Yes, sure. Tell me what it is. Okay. Architecture. Nail cutter. Yes. Pancakes. Gosh, some people are hungry. Airplanes, skateboard, pillows. I mean, think about simple things like mobile phones, airplanes, and these are very complex things. I'm looking for simple and humble, meaning like a paper clip or a pin, or I don't know, like perfume bottle, yarn, plain art, fork. Fork is a good one. Pens, definitely, but which pen? Specify. That would have Lego, yes, for sure. Japanese design, that's too big because it could be a, it could be a Mitsubishi earth moving machine, and it could be a Muji pen. So I'm not sure what you mean by that. Paper, laugh out loud. Yes, good, excellent, you guys. Sofas, simpler than sofa. What's simpler than sofa? How about a stool? Shoelaces, I love that one. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Chopsticks, excellent. Yeah, now you're thinking about humble. Yes. A fruit peeler, yes, fruit peeler. I mean, we can do a whole session just on fruit peeling design. Tessellating tiles, that's a very clever one. I like that one because it's so simple and yet it can create a whole surface. Well done. Okay, so I love that now we're understanding what I mean by that. So it took a little while to get there, but now we are all on the same page. So let's now switch slides back to the presentation. Okay. So now what we're going to do is going to take this sheet of paper and we're going to walk through it at the end of the session today. Even though it's a very hard surface that is actually quite opaque and impenetrable by humans, unless you're supernatural, I don't think you can walk through a sheet of paper. Paper comes in different sizes. In most of the world, the standard is the A standard. So from A4, it comes from an A0. Just give you a sense of scale. The A0 is about, 3/4 of a person in height. What's amazing about it is that if you cut it in half, it becomes an A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. If you notice, they're the same exact proportion. And that's quite magical because you're cutting it in half and it maintains its proportion. And then the A6, of course, and it continues. And what's magical about the A0 as well, it's got these strange numbers that are the dimensions of it. So it's 84 centimeters by 11.9 centimeters, which is, if you think about it, they're strange numbers. But when you multiply them together, they come up to be exactly 1 meter squared. So there is method to this madness. So when you look at an A0, it's actually exactly 1 meter squared. And this is done on purpose, of course. And when you take that A0 and you cut it in half, that's how you get an A1. But what's amazing, the diagonal shows us that it's actually in the same proportion because it is 90 degrees here. So this is thinking like a designer, that you see the 90 degrees and you realize that it's the same proportion. And it continues, and it just continues, keeps shrinking up to a small level. So we're going to do another exercise to understand how proportion is and how humans have an innate understanding of proportion. And we're going to look at that, which will lead us into the golden ratio. So if I show you this paisley, this paisley has many different names. In local Arabic, it's kajru. In your language, you probably have a different name for it. In the English language, it's called paisley because the manufacturers in Paisley, Scotland, found this from somewhere in the east. We don't know if it started in Afghanistan or in Kashmir or in any place in Central Asia, most likely. And it became very popular in the 19th century. So a lot of Scottish manufacturers of textiles started using the paisley. And the town is called Paisley. And that's why in the English language it's called paisley, but it's only in the English language that it's called paisley. In Arabic, we call it kaju, like the nut. And then here's another one, and here's another one. And we're going to look at all three of them. And we're going to go back to Menti, and you're going to pick which one you think is the one that looks the most beautiful, if you want, or the most comfortable, if you want. Okay. Share, it's not sharing. Okay, here we go. Is it sharing? Can you see my Menti screen?
I can see your Menti, yes.
Yes, so
Okay, because you can see the Menti screen. You can see the pink now going up.
yes.
Okay, great. Because on my screen doesn't show that it's showing. Excellent. All right. So I see that most of you, 40 have voted. Most of you have voted. Right. So it's interesting that most of us prefer the one in the middle. And while some of us prefer the other ones, that's perfectly normal. We're humans, we have different opinions. At the same time, the majority, overwhelming majority, like 94% prefer the one in the middle. And that makes, typically, that's exactly what we expect to see. And I'll explain to you why that is. So if we go back to my slides, you will see that most of you picked this one. And if you notice, it is similar proportion to the paper, but more importantly, it's related to a proportion that we find in nature a lot, which is basically the golden ratio. And the golden ratio is something that we're going to go slightly in depth about so that we can understand what it is. So here it is. This is the golden ratio. It's more or less 3 to 5. And if you divide 3 over 5, you get 0.6. So if you're not sure ever where to start with the design, start with a 3 to 5 ratio, which is this proportion, the golden ratio. So what I want you to do now is to actually take out your graph paper or your paper. We're going to draw the golden ratio together. So the first question I have for you is, can you draw a square? So the first thing we want to do is to draw a square together. And if you look at the screen, I will be drawing on this screen, not on the drawing screen, because I have the instructions here. So the first thing you need to do is to draw a square of side B. Just call it lowercase b, small b. Okay, so I'll just give you 10 seconds to do that. Make it as neat as possible. Make it maybe around 5 centimeters if you want, 4 centimeters in dimension. That's perfectly fine. Then what you want to do is find the center point of line B. You can eyeball it, or you can draw the diagonals. Diagonals are designers' best friends because it helps you to locate things. So you locate the center of the square and you draw a perpendicular, and it's there. You can eyeball it. It's not that hard. It doesn't have to be exactly precise. And then what you need to do is to draw in pencil, if you want, or anything. Doesn't matter for now. Just a diagonal line that connects the center point of B on the lower end to the upper right corner of the square. This is going to be your radius. This is a radius, and maybe I forgot to tell you to bring a compass. It's okay, you can do this later with a compass, but now you can eyeball it. Imagine that that's the radius, and then what you want to do is draw an arc with center B from the point on the upper right, and then you drop that circle down. And then if you extend line B and complete the rectangle, you get a rectangle, and we will call that one A. Are you with me? Am I going too fast? Okay, I then assume that we are doing okay. So now what we have is a rectangle, okay, which has a dimension A on the bottom, and of course the height is going to be B because it came from the square. Now what you have done, what you've created, is the golden rectangle. This is the golden ratio, where basically the relationship of rectangle A to square B is 0.6. If you divide them over each other, their areas, if you divide the length A over B, you will get 0.6. And this is a very interesting relationship, and it's progressive, and you can continue to do it. Now, mathematicians, this is how they would figure it out. They would use numbers, square root of 5 over 2 in relationship to 1 over 2, and they call it phi, and we don't need all that. This is very helpful. But if you know it, that's great, but you don't need to know it to know the golden ratio. It's just a relationship of A over B. And what's interesting, when you combine A plus B, the relationship of A plus B is the same over B is the same as A over B. And this is what I mean by progressive. Okay, so it just keeps going. So A over B is the same as all of A plus B over B. And you can imagine that this will continue both directions, up and down. Let's look at how the golden ratio works visually. So it is 3 to 5, and here's a spiral made from that fits perfectly inside the golden ratio. The ancient Greeks knew it, and the temples that they designed, like the Parthenon, which is considered a masterpiece of architecture, and this is from 2,000 years ago, basically even a little bit more than 2,000 years ago. It follows the golden ratio. Even the height of the entablature, the beginning of the entablature, or the height of the column, is in relation to the golden ratio as well. So here's the nautilus shell. Even the human face has that proportion. The Mona Lisa, of course, Leonardo da Vinci was very aware of the golden ratio, and at every level that you look at her, she follows that proportion. Even look at the head to the torso meaning up to the arms. And if you go online, you will find lots and lots. Some of them are exaggerated, some of them are stretched, but you get that even the follows the golden ratio, the shape of the painting does that. Your ear, find it in nature a lot, the golden ratio. This is by Le Corbusier and Charlotte Perriand, French designers from 1929. This is a seat, and they were aware of the golden ratio. Trump's hair, okay, just a joke. And what's interesting is that the cigarette companies know that it is attractive to humans, so they use it for packaging. They could have used any box that they wanted, but this is attractive to them. Even the shape of the opening, the cap, is along the golden ratio as well. So it's not by accident that they do that. It's actually designed to make it attractive to you. Like you were attracted, the majority of you were attracted to the paisley that followed this proportion. Naturally, you will gravitate towards this one and it becomes desirable. Makes you want to touch it, makes you want to open it, makes you want to work with it. Your IDs, your credit cards, they're all following this proportion. It's a functional proportion as well. They can do things. Here's by Invisible City, here's a piece of furniture. And now we're going to actually relate it to the Fibonacci series. What is the Fibonacci series? That's the question I have for you. So the Fibonacci series is a sequence of numbers that actually starts with 1, then 2, then 3, then 5, then 8, then 13, and then what is it? So we're going to try to understand how it works. Now, Fibonacci, his real name is Leonardo Bonacci. He's from Pisa, and a part of Pisa called Fibonacci, hence he was named Fibonacci. He was working in the 12th century to the 13th century. He's an Italian mathematician. His biggest fame is that he brought the Arabic numerals to the West. He studied math, and in those days when you studied math in Arabic. And those are the Arabic numerals, and he's the one that introduced them to the Europeans. And he basically learned through being a merchant about all the different kinds of mathematics. And basically, because he was a merchant and he combined real life with numbers, that was his life, he was curious to know how rabbits actually would, if he bought a rabbit and his rabbits mated, how soon will we have a certain number of rabbits, because he was thinking like a merchant. So what he was trying to do was to say, okay, I'm going to, with 2 bunnies, once I have 2 bunnies, I'm going to have 2 end results. And when I have another 2 bunnies, I'm going to have 3 from those. And then from these 3, I'm going to have 5. And from these 5, I'm going to have 8. And from 8, I'm going to get 13. Now, if you were looking at this pattern, you probably discovered what the pattern is. And the only way we're going to find out is we're going to go to do Menti now. And see how we are going to figure out what the next one is. So I want you to go to Menti. And we're going to try and figure out what's the next number in the series. So it's like a quiz. So I have 41 people ready. Come on, let's see. I have all sorts of avatars. Wow, you guys are awesome. You're so quick and on the ball. So I have 45, 46. I'll wait till we're 50, then I'm going to start. Okay, we stopped at 48. One more. We can start now if no one else wants to join. Okay, we're going to start, even though we're not 50. Okay. Okay, wait. Okay, I don't know what just happened. Are you voting or?
There is no question.
No.
There's no question. Yeah, I don't know what
Sir,
happened.
mine is saying loading results.
Okay, yeah, but did you guys vote?
No,
so
still.
No, we
Yeah.
didn't. We didn't do it.
Okay, let me try and fix it. Give me a minute.
Sure.
I think there's a problem with the app on my end. Just give me a minute. I'll try and fix it.
Okay.
So, thank you for your patience. So weird. Okay, it should be this one. It's frozen. Let's try now. Let's see if this works. Thanks for your patience. I didn't change anything. It's just, of course, it was working fine before we all joined, and you know how it is. Yeah. So here you can see it says start quiz. Okay, let's start the quiz. Okay, now it's working. The blank value in the Fibonacci following 5, 8, 13 is 23, 28, or 21. I think you all will get it right. You had a peek. That's okay. Everyone's voted. Let's see. 44 of you said 21. 5 of you said 23. Let's figure out how we did it. How did you do it? Let's see first the leaderboard. Okay, so we have some leaders on this, very close to each other. The fastest was Final. Hello, Final. And the question that I just asked, you can answer it here, so because we're so many. How did you figure it out? Those of you who figured it out, we can all learn from you. You multiplied 7 by 3, because it's 21. It was a lucky guess, or you added the last two numbers, 8 plus 13. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so most of you did it right. A lucky guess is not a wrong answer, but they have to be that way. Multiplying 7 by 3 is not a wrong answer. Sorry, is the wrong answer. So what you have to do is add the last two digits. So let's try again. So after 8 13 in the Fibonacci 21. Oh, let's see first the leaderboard. I think Thompson, you're going to go up today in this one. Yeah, Adiba, well done, Adiba. You're the fastest. You took over from Final. That's perfectly exciting. So let's see now. For all of us now, all of us. So, oh, I get it now. So the next blank would be after 8, 13, 21. What you have to do, remember what we had to do? We had to add the last two numbers. So what is it going to be? Let's see your mathematical, arithmetical skills. So is it going to be 43, 34, or 42? Giving you time. Next time I'll shorten the time on this one. I don't think you need a minute. Do you need a minute for this? All right, time's up. Let's see what we got. All right, 34, most of you got it right. 42 and 43, some people got it there. Let's clarify. If you add 13 plus 21, you get 34. So that's the answer. So that's how the Fibonacci works. So let's see the leaderboard on this one, how we did. Right. Kriskin, I think you're going to move up. Yeah, you did, and you were the fastest. Well done. So Abrar, Noor, Thompson, Nix, Hannah, Lloyd, the Lollipop, Chupa Chups, Wolf, Goutman, Ayman, amazing, and all of you really fantastic for participating in this exercise. So let's go back now to the Fibonacci on my screen, and we basically we went from 13 to 21 by adding 8 to 13, and then 13 plus 21 is 34. And this is the sequence. And if you look at the base of my screen, you'll notice that that is the golden section. If you actually do the math, 21 over 34 is exactly the golden section, and it's close to all the others before it, which is amazing. So now, if we look at it again, this is how visually it works. 1 to 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, because you're literally adding a square that is 1. So you have 2 plus 1 to make it 3, 3 plus 2 makes it 5, 5 plus 1, 2, 3 makes it 8, 8 plus 2 plus 3 is 13. You see how that works? So the squares are defining the number of rabbits that Fibonacci discovered. And what's interesting is that we can draw a spiral from this, because if you want the graph of this, not to speak technically of graphs, but the graph of this is a spiral. And we're going to now draw a spiral together by drawing basically squares. So let me show how that works. So if you take the first square and you draw an arc which fits exactly in the square, so it's an arc that fits in the square. You draw another one in the one, and now you draw a two-dimensional arc, and then you draw a third and a fourth, 8, 13. See how that works? It's just incredible, and this is how things grow in nature. They follow the Fibonacci order, like the rabbits. They follow the Fibonacci order, but they don't grow in spirals. But so let's draw a spiral from squares. So now I want you to get your what is it? Your graph paper, and I want you to draw a square right around up there and call it 1. So you can see my screen as well, and draw the square with a pencil. So you can have then you can mark the rest with it. I'm going to draw it with a pen so you can see it. So if you look at your drawing, so I want you to draw a square like that. So on your graph paper, draw a square. Let me see my screen to make sure you're able to see my drawing. Yeah, so draw a square. And then the next thing I want you to do is to draw a square next to it. In this case, below it, draw a square, exactly one square on the grid. Now what you have to do, I want you to go to the left and draw a square to the left of it. That's the height of the two other squares. It's going to be a 2 by 2 square. You see that? If I'm doing it. So you have 1, 1, 2. Okay? You're with me? And now we're going to go one more. We're going to go upwards, and we're going to go count 3 squares and go 1, 3 squares, which should get you back to where you started. So now you have 3. Cool, yeah? This is fun. It's so therapeutic, actually. And then you want to go next to the 5. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you go down 5, if you're doing it right, you're going to end up again where you started. You don't have to put the numbers. I'm putting them there for you to see it. And now, after 5, 5 plus 2 is 8. So you go down 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, you don't have to count anymore. You can go all the way, knowing confidently that you're going to end up where you started. So that's the 8. And after 8, Fibonacci people, Fibonacci experts, what's next? 13, that's right, because it's 8 plus 5. So count 13, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, and be confident that it's going to go all the way up to there. Okay, I think we can stop here, but you can continue on your own later. I'm going to pick an orange pen, of course. DIDI, we're orange. And here's my orange pen. And we're going to actually start drawing the arc, the spiral. So start from the upper number 1 from inside. From the left side, draw an arc connecting the 2 sides. So here you can see it's all smudgy now. Okay. And then the next thing you want to do is to draw it, connecting it below. And now draw the arc in the second one. And do the third one. Do the 5th, or it's going to be the 4th in this case. The 5th one, actually, yeah. And then draw another circle, connect, and there you go. And then connected. And look at that. You have one beautiful spiral that you drew just using squares. Isn't that amazing? So just by drawing squares, you can ask your friends, hey, can you draw a spiral from squares? And they're going to think you're mad. But show them that it's mathematically accurate and it's visually stunning as well. So, and what's stunning about that is that it's in nature. Look at this blooming flower, how the leaves themselves, if you look at them, they form a spiral, how they grow. See that? Spiral. Look at this here, you can see the perfect spiral. Look at that. And the relationship is 1 to 1 to 3 to 5 to 8. It's just incredible. And it was a German psychologist called Adolf Zeissing, gosh, around 700 years after Fibonacci, that he made the connection between the Fibonacci, the golden ratio, and nature, and the beauty of nature. We have not made that connection with the Fibonacci until then. Remember, Fibonacci was thinking about bunnies. right? And so it took many years for us to make that connection. Here's a storm over the US. Look at it, it's a perfect spiral. It's just amazing. A pine cone, how it grows. Look, all these spirals, they're growing that way. Look at that. Nature is amazing. So we're going to watch a short video just to reinforce the idea of the Fibonacci and nature. Let me make sure that the sound is on. Yes, here we go. I hope you had fun with the spiral. Did you try it? If you want, you can post pictures on the chat so you can share your work with us so we can see it. I'd love to see what you did. And I hope you're having fun. Sorry, it's taking a while. The internet is slow. Maybe I hear something. I don't know why it's so slow. hope you found that interesting and reinforcing of your ideas. So now let's look at combinations. So now we're moving away from the Fibonacci. We realized that we can actually draw draw numbers, and the takeaway is to draw a spiral just using squares. Now, a perfect spiral for that matter. So as you know, at DIDI, we have 4 disciplines, right? We have product design, multimedia design, fashion design, and strategic design management. Now, what's special about our curriculum, and actually quite unique, is that after the first year, students combine disciplines together. So they can combine product and multimedia, they can combine multimedia and fashion, they can combine fashion and strategy, strategy and product. And of course, they can combine other disciplines together, like the ones that we in this set is missing is product and fashion, which is the 5th possible combination, and multimedia and strategy. So we actually have 6 different pathways the students can go, starting with 4 initial programs. So this is what they look like. These are the 6 different disciplines that we have at DIDI. Now, to figure this out, there were 2 ways to do it. One of them is to do it visually, like I did, is just to connect the possibilities and count them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how I figured it out. This is quick and easy, dirty, visual way of thinking. I don't mean dirty in a bad way, but I mean quick and dirty in the sense that it's a quick way to do it. Now, if you're a mathematician or you are still in high school, this is not how you would expect to do it. They will expect you to figure this out, right? If your eyes just glazed over, that's perfectly normal for a designer because you get the same result. Let me explain this for you because we understand it. It's not that we don't understand it as designers. We appreciate it and we can figure it out. But when we have a method like the one on the right, this one seems like overcomplicated. So P is the number of combinations, is a combination. N is the number of elements, in our case, the number of disciplines, which in this case are 4. R is the how many elements we want in the combination. In our case, we want to pair them together. So that means they are 2. So it's n factorial divided by n minus r factorial times r factorial. So as I said, n is the number of disciplines, which is 4. R are the how many we want in a group, which is 2. And if you fill in the numbers, so it becomes p equals 4 factorial divided by 4 minus 2 factorial times 2, which ends up to be 24 divided by 4, which is 6, right? So now we're going to do our own exercise. Let's assume that the IDI now wants to add 1 more discipline in our system. And we are asking ourselves, so we're adding this one, habitat. If you like to design on Mars, this probably would be the program. I'm not announcing a program, but it's hypothetical at the moment. But if you want to design for Mars, this is the program that you would join. The question is, how many possible pairs with 5 disciplines? Now we have 5 disciplines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go to Menti and you're going to try and solve this problem for us because we're not sure how many new programs we will have. So I'm going to share my Menti and let's see. So the quiz starts now. Let's see. How many pairs from 5 disciplines are possible now? 8, 10, or 12? I'm giving you time in order to figure it out. So take your time. Let's see how you're going to figure it out. We need your help in figuring out how many new pathways will our students have, how many pairs would they get. And this is a real world exercise, by the way. This is something that we're trying to solve. Okay, 2, 1, time's up. Let's see if you figured it out. Okay, so there's some confusion. 22 of you, majority of you got it right. 10, 8 of, sorry, 10 of you thought it was 8. You probably just doubled the number, which is actually doesn't work that way. And many of you thought that it is 12. So in fact, the right answer is 22. Let's find out how. Let me see the leaderboard. Kriskin, you're still up there. Abrar, and you're fastest. Ayman, Momina, Jay, Wolf, Aisha, Shami, Aisha, and Slade. Awesome names, by the way. Let's see what the next one is. How did you solve it? So I need to get a sense from you that you did it visually, you solved it mathematically. Oh gosh, okay. Let's see the different ways to do it. Another way, okay, I'm curious to know how you did it. No idea how you solved it visually, yeah. No idea, some of you, yeah. Mathematically, most of you, that's interesting so far. Okay, that's so interesting. I'm going to show you how I'll show you both ways. So 45 voted and we have 46. Okay, visually it's catching up. Let's see. So, and then I didn't solve it. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to show you how to do it. Don't worry. Because we're here to learn, not to challenge each other only, but to learn through challenging exercises. So mathematically seems to be the most cases, which makes sense that I bet most of you are still in high school or close to high school, or if you are working, you're working in a field that relies on math and numbers. So that makes sense to me. I'm happy to see that there are almost an equal number of visual thinkers in there. And this is the balance that we need to seek. So let's go back to the slides. And what we're going to do is to see how we did it. So visually, you just connect them all together and you count the number of lines and you get 10 possible lines. And in fact, when we were thinking this exercise on our own, we did it both ways just to make sure that we're right. But definitely the visual one was much easier and faster.
The 4 disciplines of DIDI.
And so if you do it mathematically, the number of elements or disciplines now are 5. The combinations are still 2. So if you do 120 divided by, 5 factorial divided by 5 minus 2 factorial times 2 is actually 120 divided by 6 times 2, which is 120 divided by 12, which is 10. So we did it both ways in our case just to make sure, and that's always a good thing, but just to show that visual thinking is actually quite efficient and reliable. And for me as a designer, it's much easier to understand because I can see all of it together. It's not happening half in my head and half on the paper. And no, this thing's happening all in front of my eyes. My eyes are being able to see it. Speaking of eyes, let's go to colors, and we're going to do a lot of quizzes on Menti now, looking at color theory developed by Joseph Albers in the Bauhaus. 100 years ago, he developed these exercises. So what we're going to do is, first question is, are these two X's the same color, different shade? What are they? How are they related to each other? So let's go back to Menti, and Menti is going to have quizzes for us. So here we go. So let's see how we're going to do this exercise. So are the X's the same color? Look at your device. Yes, of course. No way. I have no idea. I don't know. So what is it? Are they the same color or not? Just look at it. Don't think about it. Just look at it. Okay, time's up. Let's see. Yes, of course. Okay, no way. I don't know. So a majority got the answer right. They are the same color. Definitely, they are the same color, and I'll show you why in a minute. But let's do, I don't want to keep switching screens. So let's do the other exercises, then I'm going to show you. They're not hard to remember. Kristen, you're still way up there. Okay, cool. Let's see the second question. Then I'll show you exactly what they are. So which square is brighter? I'm talking about the squares in the middle. Which square is brighter? Oh, of course, the one on the left. It must be the right one. They are the identical color. Which one is it? So look at the squares on either side, in the center, in the middle. So is it the one on the left that's brighter or the one on the right? Or are they the same? They are the identical color, most of you said, which is correct. They are the identical color. And those of you who said, of course, the one on the left, and the ones who said, it must be the one on the right, are just puzzled, like, why is that happening? It's perception, and I'm going to show you why. It's called the interaction of color. Let's see the leaderboard. And then we'll do about 2 more of those. Ayman and Jay, we lost you on that one. That's okay. Kriskan, you're still leading this boat. All right, let's see the next question. Which inner rectangles are the same color? Okay, so which ones? So they should be A, B, C, D from the left. I don't know why the letters are not showing. So take, I should shut up so you can concentrate. Okay, this was too quick, I think. Next time I'll add the time on that one. A, B, C, D, yes, that is the correct. They're all the same color. They're all the same color, believe it or not. And again, those of you are wondering, now you get the trick, right? So you're going to answer correctly more often, but it's still puzzling for the eye. Let's see the leaderboard. Yeah, we lost a lot of people on this one. Kriskan, this was your advantage. All right. Okay, so Kriskan wins a shoe. Okay, so let's go back to the slides and see how is that possible? Hani, are you like, are we crazy? Are our eyes tricking us? Yes, these are tricking us. So the first one, if you remember the X's, right? These are the X's. Let me remove these so you can see. If you connect them, you will see it's the same exact color. It's just because one is on a gray background and one is on a yellowish background, they take on, your eye blends them together, so you get this perception that they're different colors, but they're exactly the same color. And here they are against black, right? So against this, you can still question me and say, wait a minute, the one on the right is slightly more light, it's got a tint of yellow in it, but when I look at it with no color background, they are exactly the same color. It's mind-boggling. This is the work of Joseph Albers. You can look him up, A-L-B-E-R-S, from the Bauhaus 100 years ago. And here, the question was, okay, which one is the brighter one? And of course, you started getting the picture. It's exactly the same. It's just because this one has a brighter color next to it, your eye blends with it and makes it darker for some reason. And this one on the darker color makes it lighter. And here again on a black surface, look at that. It's exactly the same color, nothing changes. And oh, here are the letters. So A, B, C, D, trick question again, but you figured it out by now that it's actually the same. It's all the same, and here you go. You see that? Look at that. Changes color on you. That, look how B, much lighter it looks like C or D. And then you combine them, it's just the same color. Okay, so now we're shifting to another exercise. I hope you enjoyed that one. we're going into words. So I'm going to show you a cartoon from about 50 years ago, which I love this cartoon. I didn't see it 50 years ago, okay? I only saw it a couple of years ago. But I loved it. For me, it just showed me so much. And I want you to look at this cartoon, try to absorb it and understand it, because we're going to go to Menti and you're going to tell me what she is doing. What is this girl doing? What is the message of this cartoon? So if you are on Menti, you will see the cartoon. And you just tell me, what do you see in it? See what you guys are saying. Okay, we perceive differently, dancing to represent flower, imagination, telling a story. I don't know what that is. That everyone interprets things differently, children discussing nature, different people perceive different things, not everyone thinks the same. A girl doing a presentation, different thoughts. She says a word and the others have to say another word related to it, acting like the things they like. Each person has their own perspective. That's a very nice one, and I like different people perceive different things. Not everyone thinks the same. We perceive differently. She says a word and the others have to say another word related to it. That's an interesting one. I can see how you can see it that way. Fine. Acting like the things they like a biolab or something, living things and non-living things. Everyone has different ideas and different imaginations. What people want, different objects, Pictionary, she's expressing her ideas, nature. Everyone thinks differently and in a unique way. Children imagining images related to a plant, people with different ideas. Yes, she's playing charades, she's dancing like a flower. She's in a pose that she thinks look like a flower. Other people look at it and interpret in different ways. This technique is also used in psychology to determine how a person thinks. Excellent. What pops into someone's head when they think of plants? That people's minds work differently, showing. And what you have done here for me is similar to what the children are doing as she is looking at the flower. So she's trying to be a flower, and basically she's trying to be a flower, and because it seems like a scene from kindergarten. There's a musical phonograph playing some music. She's dancing and imagining herself to be a flower. Now her friends, while the teacher stands there, notice that she's very neutral. She's not interfering. And the children are basically seeing different things. Some are seeing airplanes, horses, cows, whatever, octopus on that. And to me, this is a very powerful message of no matter how much you intend to do something, allow other people to interpret what you said, because what they interpret is also equally valid, equally important as what you are trying to do. So the teacher could have said, no, 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 you guys are wrong. No, 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 she's doing flower. But that's not the education system that we follow. What we want is to allow people to express themselves, give them the space, and allow them also to receive different interpretations of what they said, because it opens up possibilities. It makes the impossible possible. In a very healthy environment, everyone seems calm and there's no argument, and everyone is satisfied that they are able to interpret things. And it also says that her work could be interpreted in different ways, which means that it's a rich experience rather than a boring, singular approach. So So now what we want to do is to draw words, because drawing words is not an easy thing, and this is how we communicate visually. So on your sheet of paper, let's draw the first thing, a happy face. Happy, how would you, not happy face, but how would you represent happy? And most of you would do a happy face like this. And if you want to represent sad, what would you do? You'd make the mouth go down, right? And this communicates perfectly, right? So these are simple things to do. So now I want you to represent big and small. How would you do that? Big and small. Can you do big without doing small? You can do happy without doing sad, but to do big, you have to do big and small. So I can make, oh, sorry, I forgot to say that you can add a color to make it. Yeah? Hello? Okay, you can see my screen with the happy faces, right? And the sad face. Now for the big and small, how would you do big? Here's big, it's orange, like DIDI.
Sir, should we draw this in the paper right now?
If you want, yes. Yes, I'll ask you to see. There's no right answer, like the girl did the flower, but it's to practice. And small. Now, if I had done them alone, if I had shown you this, would you know it's big? You'd probably say no, orange. You wouldn't say big, right? But now when I put this there, you can say, ah, big, small. I can understand. Now, can you do up? Up is one of those things that you can do simply with an arrow, right? If you did an arrow, that's a quick way. I'm sure there are different ways. And I made it green because in the elevator, if you notice, going up is green. Do you remember what color the arrow is for going down?
Red.
Red. Red. Because I don't know, are we going to hell? I don't know why it's red. I just find it funny every time I'm at the elevator and it turns red, going down. Oops, I was a bad boy.
Sir, can we post our drawings in the chat box?
Yes, please, please. And write the words. Yes, please. Post them on the chat. I will look at them all. Let's see. Where's the chat here? 93 on the chat. Okay, now here's a hard one. So these are simple words to express happy, sad, big, small, up, down. These are relatively easy. But what about a word like motivate? How would you represent that? Why don't you draw something? Let me know. I have a way to do it. Took me a while though. The last time I gave this workshop, I didn't have an answer, but now I do. And you can tell me if it's a good one or not. Let's see if people are putting things in the chat. Thumbs up, thumbs down. A fist for motivate. Yeah, why not? Why not? Draw that. Why not? Could also as good or bad. Thumbs up. Okay. I don't know about thumbs up could be bad. Thumbs up, thumbs down is bad. Okay, let me show you what I did for motivate. This is what I did. Yeah, so I did a thumbs up, but being said by someone. I don't know how you think about that, maybe. So thumbs up, yeah, but I'm telling you thumbs up. Oh, okay, good, good, good. Arman, you got me confused there. So that's good. Yeah, yeah. Thumbs down is bad. Yeah. Comes from the Roman Empire, by the way. How would you do discourage? Smiley face with a thumbs up for motivate. That's a good one, Trisha. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, thumbs up with smiley face. That's good. Here's my discourage. Smiley face with a black thing has a big X on it. I don't know. That's my way of doing it. Stair leading up, encouragement. A staircase leading down, discouragement. That's good. So we can do it woman for motivate. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So this is where you start thinking, and this is what I want you to do, is every time you look at a word, you come up with it, try to imagine how would you represent it. And it's okay, the best icons are the ones that have an icon and a little label underneath them, because we don't expect everyone to see the flower as a flower, because they might see it as a horse, like the girl and the others. So having a little label in your interface design is perfectly okay, or when you roll over, it reinforces what it is. Because many times you see icons, you don't know what they are. And there are so many icons that now we know what they are. Like the hamburger, I don't know if you know the hamburger, the 3 stripes, that's menu. Okay, we all know that. But 10 years ago, we didn't know that. Anyway, here's something I did when I was your age, when I was in my last year in high school. You see that? It says down and up. But look at this. Isn't that cool? Down and up. Yeah. I love this, not because I did it, but it just tickles my mind. So you flip it again, it just goes down and up. So yeah, this is 1985. Thank you. Yeah, I had fun with that one. Okay, so yeah, enough. Yeah. Okay. It's turning on its own. Okay, so now we're going to do squiggle birds, and we're going to do this very simple exercise. This is fun. If you are bored in class, you can ask your friends. Don't tell the teacher I told you this. I'm the dean. I'm not supposed to be saying things like that. But the first thing I want you to do is to draw squiggles, and this is from Lexi Prager, who shows us this technique. You can visit their website. It's basically, the first thing I want you to do is to do any type of squiggles. So if you look at my camera, I hope it's still running. If it's not, then I'll ask for help. Yeah, it's still there. Yeah, so just draw any type of squiggle. This is my favorite pen. And I'll just do any squiggles. So ask your friends if you don't want to do squiggles yourself. They could be simple. They could be, this one is a simple one. Okay, you get the idea. So just do all sorts of squiggles that you want. And now imagine, very simply, what you want to do is to add eyes and feet to them. So here we go. I'm going to use an orange pen. So let's see here. Here's this one. That's a cool bird right there. Let's see this one, how I'm going to transform it. So, oh, this is an easy one. You can add a beak if you want. So here's another bird. Look at that one. That's a fancy one. This one's eating. It's flying. Right? And this one is, I don't know. Here. It's more like a fish, this one. So maybe it's a fish. And then this one, maybe this one is sideways. So you start seeing things that no one else could see. Here, this one's also sideways. This one's cleaning her back. You see that? You see what I'm doing? So I hope you can have fun with that. This is from Lexi Prager. There's a funny one. And here's a more like a chicken. Okay, you get the idea. So these are squiggle birds. Of course, you can do any type of animal. And this is one type of bird. The other type of bird that you can do is find an object like the scissors here. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So find scissors, something like that. And imagine that the scissors are eyes. So you start seeing the world in a completely new way. And then you say, okay, here we go. Cool. Okay, just do another curve here. Maybe a tail, a wing, and some legs. See my bird? That cute bird? Right? So you start seeing things in a new way. Here's the bird, that similar one. And this is from viswise.com. They have exercises like this that you can follow. Yeah. Two could be swan. Okay, good. So fantastic, you guys. I'm glad I opened the chat. There's a lot going on there. So now let's do the stick figure, which is something that we always do. So typically when you ask someone to draw, we tend to be lazy and we draw a person like this. This is Mr. Stick. Meet Mr. Stick, right? Okay, that says a lot about that I can't draw. But with simple shapes, you can appear to draw much better. So the first thing you want to do, instead of drawing Mr. Stick, just draw an oval, okay? And then draw a rectangle. Do you know how to do that? Oval, rectangle, let them overlap a bit, right? So I think you can do that. And just draw triangles. So oval, rectangle, triangles. Make the triangles the same length as the rectangle. That's always a question. And then add triangles on the side. Look at that. Now it looks like you know how to draw. If you're doing like a quick study, don't draw stick figures. Draw, Mr. Triangles. That's what I call this guy. And then you can start merging things together. You can erase and you become faster at drawing. So instead of drawing a rectangle and triangles, you just draw triangle, rectangle, and you do the body. And then you color it, of course, in DIDI fashion, right? So go to, yeah, modern art stick figures, Mr. Triangle. Yeah, these are good for doing storyboarding or explaining to people quickly. He looks like me, yeah, that's right. Thank you. I just have bigger feet than this guy, but that's okay. I'm Mr. Triangles. Hands, eyes, yeah, I've got blue eyes too. And it's a common mistake to actually place the eyes on top of the head. And I want you to be aware of that if you didn't know this trick. Basically, what I want you to do is to always find the midpoint, the midline of the face, and that's where the eyes go. See that? Look how weird it looks. This is how most people draw. Just put them in the middle and he looks much happier. Make him happy. Make him wear a DD shirt. That's good. Now, Mr. Triangle, he falls in love with Mrs. Triangles. And if you do a stick figure, this is what she's going to look like, which is kind of silly. Not a circle and no. Do an oval, right? And just make a longer rectangle. So she's wearing a dress, or if you want abaya, go all the way down. And that's the thing. Look at it. It's so easy. It looks like you know what you're doing. Tilt the head a bit because she's actually seeing something that Mrs. Stick is a Christmas tree. Yeah, she is. So it looks weird, right? So make her move her arms. She's gesticulating. She's mad at him. Okay, so wrong way. So here she is. Yeah. Okay, so you can easily animate them. But so she's pointing up to make it believable. Make him look up as well, just by turning the oval. By making an oval, you can get a better expression on your stick figures. These are still stick figures. Make them wear colors. Again, put the eyes in the middle. So make her, she's got beautiful purple eyes. She's happy. Eyes in the middle. He's wearing my glasses. Happy. Give her brown hair. And there's Didi, that's me. You're right, you figured it out. Okay, Mrs. Triangles is angry. Yeah, she was, but now she's happy because he's actually listening to her. Good. So now how to do a face. And this is one of the simplest things, believe it or not. And this exercise comes from a wonderful artist called Graham Shaw. And basically, you're going to draw faces now that are straightforward.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I've seen this before in TEDx when he shows that how do you
Yes,
that
that's
everyone can,
him.
and then I've seen him do this in a really simple way, and everyone in the audience was learning how to draw really good.
Exactly. It's exactly. This is Graham Shaw, and he has a wonderful TEDx, and he has many other videos, and we're going to use his
Yeah,
technique.
I've seen a lot of his videos and I've tried
Isn't
this.
it fun? Isn't
Yeah, it
it
was
fun?
really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was really fun.
yeah. So it makes it easy to use. So to draw. So let's do the Graham Shaw method. And I always have my source on the lower left, and it's a habit that's very important for everyone. Just to always state your sources. We don't expect you to know everything and invent everything. So we build on each other's work. So Graham Shaw, drawing exercise, TEDx, do Google, you'll find it. And this is exactly what we're doing. We're following Graham Shaw's technique. So if you can draw a long C, elongated C, this is quite straightforward. I'm going to do one instead here. So I think you can do that. Can you do 2 6s above the C? Yeah. Yeah, you can do that, I'm sure. And now you want to do an opposite C, maybe right around here. And what you want to do then is add a little notch in there. Okay? So it's more or less at the same level as the first C. And do you know how to draw lines? So just draw lines. On top, like that. Do you know how to draw an arc? Okay, if you want to add a little thing, these are all things you can draw. And from the back C, just draw like a curve like that. And from the left of the mouth, just draw anything you want like that. Just make sure you drew it from the left. That's the key trick. And now you can add just a little shirt. You can add more to it. You can do all sorts of things. You can give them more hair. You can give them the stubble. Right? So there you go. See how easy that is? Now, this is, I drew myself after that exercise, and I drew the foundation faculty at DIDI. This is from my notebook, from my sketchbook. I was in a meeting, and I had just watched Shaw's exercise, and I realized I can draw everyone with that technique. Just put their features. So if you know Professor Sajal, Professor Mirko, Professor Rafi, and Professor Carlos, I think it's a not bad look-alike. Yeah. The website is Graham Shaw. You want to look for Graham Shaw. So just look up Graham Shaw. You like Mirko Noura? Yeah. Good. I should have made him taller though. Yeah. So now we're going to walk through the paper. This is the end of the last exercise. So we've been an hour and a half. So now we have 20 minutes or less, we should be done. Yeah, Rafi looks stylish. Yeah, good. You're distracting me. Let me focus on my slides. All right. So your exercise today is basically to cut a hole through a sheet of paper, okay, large enough for you to walk through the A4 sheet. So get an A4 sheet like this one I have in my hand. Cut a hole large enough for you to walk through it. Okay, and I'm going to give you hints and tips, but you can't peek yet. Okay, so I'm going to give you time, and if you want to turn on your videos so we can see how you are trying to solve this, that would be amazing. So go for it. So how, let me put the question for you. Cut a hole large enough for you to walk through an A4 sheet of paper. Yeah, good. Let me see your videos so I can see how you're thinking about it. I'm going to do it myself as well, but I won't show you what I'm doing. And then we're going to do it together, but I'm going to give you a few minutes to figure out how to cut a hole for you to walk through. And it has to be a hole. Definition of hole is that it is surrounded by something. Like if you cut a hole in the paper, it means that it's surrounded by the paper. Not like it's a hole in the paper. I mean, how else can I tell you what a hole in the paper is? How are you doing? I see some activity. Mayank and Ishal. Kriskan, I can see sheet. I like that you're busy with this. Don't cut your headphones, Mayank. Be careful. I've done that before. Yeah. It was frustrating when that happened. I had a deadline.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes. Tell me, Lloyd. Is that you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you're an architect?
I'm not an ex-architect. I'm still an architect. Yes, but I studied architecture.
Yes, sir. So, if I have to take architecture as my passion, do I need maths?
No, you don't need math. You don't need math for architecture. I went to MIT and I did architecture and I didn't need math.
That's a good news.
What's that? Okay, so let's see. Trisha, in a drawing portrait, you draw an oval with a little bit of triangular end below. Then you draw a horizontal line in the middle. Did you do it?
Excuse me, I think I did it. I think I made it large enough.
Show me. Oh, wait, Kriskin.
Yeah, I can walk through
Wait,
it.
Trisha, is that, who's
Yeah.
talking? Is that you, Kriskin?
Yeah. Yes, Kristen.
Yes.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Oh my God, Kriskin. Yes, you did it. Oh my God, how did you do that?
I can't take full
You have
credit
to
for
show
it.
us.
Yeah, I can't take full credit for it. Like, I was reading a book the other day. It talked about walking through a post stamp, a post, like a.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, we lost you. You're mute now. Kriskin, unmute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
was reading
yeah.
a book the other day, and it showed how to
Yeah.
walk through a post stamp or the thing you put the corner of the post of the letter.
Yeah,
So
the
it showed
postage
like a
stamp,
diagram
yeah.
how to cut. Yeah, like you had to fold in half, then you had to cut it along some certain lines, in a repeating pattern,
Okay.
and then I just copied that onto the. I just remembered and just copied it onto the paper.
Okay, good. So how did you do it? So can you show us again how you did it so people could see that you literally walked through the paper?
Yes. Oh no.
Yeah.
Hold up, it's getting jangled.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, here.
There you go. So you made it a strip that goes all around like a very thin frame. Yeah.
Yeah, it can go longer. Yeah, but yeah, I could make it
Yeah.
bigger, but I didn't need to. So yeah, because I could.
Yeah, you didn't need to.
Just
Yeah.
walk through it.
Awesome. So you walk through a piece of paper. And I have the same solution here. You can see my solution. I just did this now, as you can, and you can see I'm walking through it, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. So good job, Kristen. Impressive. And it's always good to state your source. So let's go back to the slides. Everyone, since Kristen got the answer. I'm sure there are different ways to do it. So let's see how you do it. So get your sheet of paper. We're going to do it together. Everyone ready? So let me see. Hopefully you're all ready. Let me get the chat back on so I see if you're still okay. Okay. Oh, toy of you. Okay. Oh no, it has to be you, Mayank. Okay. And you. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So take the sheet of paper, fold it in half. Fold it in half. Okay. So along the short edge. So the short edge is folded. And then simply cut from the folded edge towards the outer edge, but stop short, like, I don't know, 2 centimeters short. So just go in and cut. Yeah, and then stop. What we're trying to do is create a frame as thin as possible. So the closer you make them, the thinner it is. And continue to do that. Leave around, I don't know, 3 centimeters between each cut. Make sure you don't go to the edge. So it starts becoming a bit floppy, the piece of paper, but that's okay. But don't go all the way to the edge. Leave around 3 centimeters between them. Later you can do it better. So it should look something like this, like I don't know, like you know, these banners that go up for birthdays and stuff. So the next thing you want to do is turn the paper around and now cut from the open edge in the opposite direction in between. So this is where you're going to cut. You can see. So in between the cuts, and start from the second strip, not from the first one. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm cutting there. It's going to get very flimsy, the paper, but that's okay. Don't let that prevent you. So now you're cutting in between the strips that you cut, starting from the open edge and stopping just before the fold. Okay, that went sideways, but that's okay. That's fine. All right, so you see what we have? It should look like this. Now, your sheet should look like this. On the screen, it looks, you know, pretty stable, but if you hold it, it should be flimsy and already able to open. Don't open it yet. And if you did, close it because we need to do some more cutting. Now, here's the tricky part. I want you to remember this. Skip the first item and cut the edges. So if you look at my camera, my drawing camera, you will see this edge, the first one, ignore it. Then starting with the second edge, just trim the next one, trim the fold. So you want it to open, trim the fold, and make sure you stop before the end. So the ends should remain folds to maintain the integrity of the sheet. Okay? And now, what you want to do is open it. And when you open it, you're going to get a large frame. You see that here? Or on my other
Sir?
camera.
Can
Yes.
you go back to the previous?
Yeah, can you please go back? I didn't see
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah. This one here?
Yes,
This
this
one?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, cut in between, but stop before the fold. Okay, just leave some space there. You will need that space to keep the piece of paper together. Okay? Move on. Okay, Gautam, good job. Yeah. All right. So, and now, again, as I mentioned, the tricky part is to cut at the fold, but not from the first or the last one. You want to trim the fold in the middle, if you want, the ones in the middle. In this case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 snips that you need to do and leave the edges untouched. Did you do that?
Not yet, sir.
Okay, so shall I go back?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we cut those edges together. You got that?
Sir, this is actually pretty tricky.
Okay. How can I help you?
Well, let me just open my camera and show you what I have done so far.
Yeah, show me.
It's just okay. This is what I have done so far. Like, it's so flimsy and like hard to
Yeah.
show you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good,
Okay.
Hamad. Okay. Let me, yeah.
Wait, can I now? Oh no, wait, not yet.
Okay,
I'm
so now what
almost
you want to
done.
do,
I just need
okay.
to trim the top, right? I have to like.
Yeah, trim the top at the fold, Hamad. Best
Yes.
leave the ends, don't trim the ends.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Yeah? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how that works. So if you look at the screen, you will see that the ends, you don't trim them. It's just the ones in the middle. So yours is going to be big. You made a big one, which is good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. How are we doing, Muhammad?
pretty good. I think I'm almost done.
Yalla, you have to show us, and then
Okay.
we wrap up.
Okay.
Well done.
I have completed, I think.
Show us, Muhammad. Yeah, there you go. It's all connected, right?
Yes, fully
Bravo.
connected.
Well done, well done.
Now
You
I
did
should.
it.
Yay!
Yay! Well done, Muhammad. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Now I should.
Thanks for asking. It's good to ask. That's how we learn. So that's good. I'm glad you asked. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So this is what it would look like. And in fact, what seemed impossible in the beginning is now possible. This is what we believe at DIDI. So look what we did today. We did paper special, golden ratio, Fibonacci, the combinations, colors, words, squiggle bird, stick figure, the face, like Graham Shaw, and walking through a piece of paper, something we thought was impossible. And I would love your feedback and to close the session on Menti. So let's go back to Menti and give you a chance to check out and tell us how your experience was today. So you can ask me anything before we do that. So the first question is, ask me anything. And you can enter into Menti your questions so I can answer them. I'm cognizant of time as well, but I can stay if you can stay. So go to Menti, and I have a question for you in case you have anything that you wish to clarify about. And Razan is here as well. No questions, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. I really enjoyed. Me too, I enjoyed having you. I wish we could meet in person, hopefully soon. Thank you, you're welcome. I'm thinking of applying to DIDI. What are the requirements? Excellent. Razan, are you able to answer? Yeah.
Yes, so to apply to DIDI, we look at your high school grades, so for grade 10, 11, and 12, and then you also need an English exam, which is either IELTS, TOEFL, or MSAT. If you're looking to apply for fall 2020, our application is open and it's available on our website. So go to didi.ac.ae and you can apply through there. I'll put my email address in the chat as well, so you can email me if you have any specific questions about the application.
Great, hope to see you soon. It was an amazing workshop. Thank you, it was amazing having you, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was a great session, very informative. Could we have a private session with a group of kids, please? Thank you. We can organize workshops. Razan, if you want to answer that.
Yeah, so we can organize for schools specifically. Just send me an email and we can discuss this further. So again, my email is in the Zoom chat.
Okay, great. Happy to help. Will we be able to access the PowerPoint to review any of these tasks? I believe so, yes. Yes.
Yes, the recording will be uploaded on YouTube.
Yeah, great. And when did you start working in DIDI? Thank you, enjoyed this workshop. Hopefully there'll be other fun ones. If this is a question to me, I started working at DIDI from day zero. I was part of the team, we're an amazing team, that started imagining what a design school in Dubai would be like. And I was lucky enough that I was invited to join at a very early time because of my background and my work and my connection with MIT as well. So for all these reasons, and it's been an amazing journey. And yes, we have many other workshops. Razan will tell you about them. What's the next one, Razan, at least?
The next one second. So we do almost at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. The next one we have is on next Tuesday. Again, walk through a sheet of paper, we're repeating it. And then after that, on Wednesday, the 22nd, we're doing Islamic geometric patterns. So
that's a fun one because, yeah, it's using software to generate Islamic patterns. It's really fun one. Okay, great. Waiting for other first. Oh, fantastic. So hope to see you there. This was fun. Thank you. How do the students have more fun? You should ask the students there. I think, Noor, if you are still there, I think I saw you.
Yep, still
if you
here.
want to answer that.
How do students have more fun? It is fun in itself to just be in the IDI. I'll say that. And there's like a lot of stuff happening in D3, so you can always just join into those things. So you'll never, ever be bored. Just ever.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Noor. Noor is a second-year student. She was the first president of the student council, and now she's going into third year, which I really can't believe how quickly that happened. So thanks for being here, Noor.
It's crazy.
Do you have to do a specific subject that you need to get into any top design school? Well, we are a top design school, in my opinion. And to enter the IDI is not that difficult. We're looking for visual learners and we're looking for passionate learners. And Razan, you want to add anything about specific subjects?
I mean, we look for creativity, right? So anything that you show that can help to express what your interests are in design. So we don't have specific subject requirements for the IDI ourselves, but we recommend like an art course or design course if your school provides it.
And don't worry, because we teach you how to draw and we teach you all these things. So you don't need to come in knowing how to draw. That's not a requirement. That's something that we make sure that you do in our courses. Next one, are we going to have participation certificates for these workshops? Razan?
Again, email me if you want a participation certificate and we'll get those to you.
Excellent. Next question. Thank you for the session. You're most welcome. Hope to meet you in person. Are we going to receive? Yes, we answered that one. Is DIDI part of Expo 2020? We are participating in several things with Expo 2020. The one that comes to mind now is the fashion students are working on the costumes for the opera. It's a world-class opera that was commissioned by the Expo. The faculty and the jury have been, the faculty have been on juries for choosing things. And definitely because we are part of Dubai Holding, we will have a place at the Expo to show our work, student work. Yeah, and we have 2 people from the Expo coming in and giving lectures to students in the coming semester. So we have a very good relationship with Expo. It's a good question. DR students, yes, they have fun. Noor just confirmed. Thank you for the wonderful workshop. You are most welcome. What is better, Illustrator or InDesign, digital designing platforms? I can answer that. Illustrator is good if you're doing a poster or a singular image or a logo. InDesign is for doing books. So don't do a book in Illustrator, don't do a logo in InDesign. Each one is designed for a separate thing. They both can read bitmaps, but Illustrator is great for doing things in vector graphics. I wouldn't draw in InDesign. I would draw it in Illustrator and drop it into InDesign, because InDesign is for designing books. Okay, I hope that answers your question. How to create double exposure image in Adobe Photoshop? Okay, use layers. That's what I would say. But this is not the place for it. We can do a Photoshop. Just use layers. Thank you. You're most welcome. Tips for improving design. Many things you can do. Definitely learning about the rules of design, looking at design objectively and not being just enamored by the style, but also looking for the golden section, the rule of thirds. There are different rules to use. There's a wonderful little book. I'm looking at my bookshelf. Yeah, it's here. I have it here. I would recommend this book. Here, I put it here so you can see it. It's the Universal Principles of Design. And it's all about different rules of design, how to use different techniques. I think this is a good book to help you with learning the magic tricks, if you want, behind the scenes. Thanks, great workshop. You're most welcome. Glad you enjoyed it. We're happy to have you. I enjoyed having you as well. Thank you so much. It was really good. Amazing, you guys. Thank you. Super class. It was fun being with you. What subjects are best to take my IN and GCSEs enjoy the school? I think Razan answered that. If you're not still sure, just email Razan. She will tell you more information. Her email is in the chat. Do you have master's program? Not yet. It's something that we want to do eventually down the road, but we are focusing on graduating our first batch of undergraduates because we're a new school. So in probably 2 to 3 years, we'll have a master's program. If not sooner, we definitely are interested in doing that. We get a lot of requests for that, but our charge now is to produce the first batch of bachelor students, which will include Noor, actually. It was really fun. I enjoyed the session. I did too, having fun with you. Hopefully we'll do it in person next time. Can you suggest some good websites for making things like posters, flyers, etc.? There's lynda.com. It's a subscription service, Lynda with a Y, L-Y-N-D-A, where they teach you a lot of the skills for designers. So start there. See if you are part of a school, the school should be able to give you a subscription because it's super educational, super helpful. It's a resource that we have. If you want to visit the DIDI, we have it in the library. We'll show you how it works so you don't have to commit to it. Just let us know when you want to come in and we'll show you how it is. Lynda.com is my. Thank you. Are we going to receive cert? Yes, Razan answered that. Send an email. This has made me to take design as my passion. Thank you so much. Lloyd the Lollipop. Amazing, Mr. Lloyd the Lollipop. Glad to have you here. Chupa chups to you. What do you design? Me personally, I design buildings. I'm an architect and I also design brands because I have a branding firm and I design books and websites and infographics. Gosh, the list is so long. Gosh, I don't know where to start. But yeah, mostly buildings and logos, I would say, to simplify. Will we have a course like this next year? More advanced than this, for sure. Definitely the studio and the workshop, you do a lot of exercises like that, sure. I accidentally cut one end, can I just glue it? Yeah, you can staple it even, or make another one. That's okay, you can make another one. If you want to have it precise, you can use a ruler actually to measure, but you don't have to. I mean, the idea is there. Yeah, you can glue it, but if there was a jury, they would say no, but for our purposes, it's fine. I would do another one just to get it right. That's the way I would do it. It was very educational and fun. Thanks a lot. You are most welcome. Thank you so much, sir. Amazing experience. Thank you. Amazing to have you with us. Is it expensive for admission in DIDI? I'm going to let Razan reply to that one.
I don't think so because we offer a lot of scholarships that help students. So we can discuss this again over email, but we offer generous scholarships to students. So don't worry about the price. We can help you out.
Great, amazing. And thank you for this great workshop. You are most welcome. Do we need to take art in school to join DIDI? No, you don't. If you did, that's great. It's a plus, but no, you don't need to take art. I think the whole purpose of the workshop today, at least a big part of it, was to show that you can learn how to think visually. That's something that we teach you, design thinking. We teach that for sure. Can you suggest some good video editing websites? No, that's not my specialty, I'm afraid. Try lynda.com again, but again, it's not my specialty, so just a wild guess. Maybe Adobe has some websites as well that you can.
Can I reply to that?
Is there fashion design in DI? Yes, we definitely have fashion design. We have an amazing fashion studio as well, where we have all the machinery and equipment. You're most welcome to visit when it's safe to visit, and you can send an email to Razan to see it and maybe meet some of the fashion students. What is better for making greeting card? Greeting card, since it's a single page, use Illustrator. You don't need InDesign. InDesign is better for books, but either is fine. If I were you, I'd use Illustrator. Can fashion designing happen digitally? Yes. In fact, today, Noreen, our fashion professor, is in France taking a course in CLO, C-L-O, which is the cutting edge software for fashion design. And during the COVID period, we had the students actually work digitally on their design. Yes, so fashion design is definitely going there. There are new tools, and our professor is literally in France today for 3 days taking that course, so she's up to date on what's out there. By the way, do you enjoy reading books? You have really good book collection. Thank you. I love reading books. It's an addiction, actually. And thank you for noticing my books. I'm very proud of my collection, and it grows every day. I make sure I have a budget, monthly budget, but the only rule is that if I get them, I have to read them. It's not enough to, so everything you see behind me, I've read them all. And if you need anything, I can tell you exactly where it is. I'm a book nerd, sorry, but I love it. Thank you, good question. Could you put the design book's name in the chat that you showed? Yes, I will put that there. I would definitely put that there. I'll give you a link to it also. Thank you, great to have you as well. Is master's necessary after BDes? It depends on what you want to do. That's a very good question. I would recommend it if you want to continue teaching, if you want to teach design. Yes, if you want to go to the market, what I recommend is to do BDes, work for 2 to 3 years, and figure out where your passion is, and then do your master's. This is what I did. I went to MIT undergraduate. I graduated, came to Dubai actually, back in the 80s, and worked here. And then I realized quickly that I didn't know anything, and I needed, and this is from MIT, and I'm being facetious, of course, but then I realized there's so much more I could learn. And then I went to do my master's at Harvard. But when I went to Harvard, I knew exactly where my weaknesses and areas of growth were. So I really enjoyed my time in master's, in graduate school. It's because I knew what I wanted. So I don't think it's necessary. I recommend it if you want to move up, and make sure that you work in between. So when you go to do your master's, you're really focused. Is the Universal Design Books author William Lidwell? Yes, absolutely. Good one. Yes. Are we going to have in-person workshops next year in DIDI? We are going to have in-person classes next year in DIDI, as far as the ministry and KHDA have informed us. This might change, and if we are allowed to have classes, we're hoping that we will have in-person workshops in them. But we will inform you, and safety is the first concern that we have. So definitely classes are open for students, but we're not sure yet for workshops. We'll keep you posted, stay in touch. And there will be a workshop next week, and it's the same one as today. No, you don't need to attend it because it's going to be the same one. I'm going to say the same jokes even. So no, don't be there. You'll embarrass me because I'll find it foolish for me to be sounding the same.
Okay, I won't attend it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can't wait for the next sessions. Awesome. I have made my own coffee shop logo just for fun on Illustrator. It was so fun. It came out really good for the first time. Thank you so much. I would love to see it. If you want to share it with me, send an email to Razan and she can forward it to me, and I'll be happy to give it a look if you'd like me to. Can you suggest some good books to read? On design, yes, I can recommend. I'll add them to the list. I have a list already made for my students, so I will just share that list with you. Why not? And Lidwell is in there and all of that. So it's a long list, but fantastic. There's a lot of good books. I'm glad you are interested in books. Hope to have similar sessions soon. It's fun. It was fun having you. Thank you. Did you ever have a dream and it happened in real life? That happened to me a few times. That's beautiful. My dream was to start a design school, and I'm living my dream, and I'm loving it, and I'm loving that you're also passionate about these workshops. I've seen architecture require maths. Any suggestion? No. Any school that tells you that math is required for architecture, they actually don't go to that school. I went to MIT and did architecture. I did not need math. Okay, so architecture does not need math. Engineering needs math, but architecture does not. It requires visual thinking, not mathematical thinking. So it's more on the right side of the exercises that we did. So any school that tells you they need math, don't go to that school. It's not the school for you. I know that AUS doesn't need math. I know that AUB, LEU in the region, they don't need math. MIT doesn't need math. Harvard doesn't need math. No. So don't. RISD doesn't need math. The best schools don't need math. Will there be any competitions? I don't think so.
We run project design space through schools, so talk to your teachers about it, and you can sign up for that competition that way.
Yeah, if that's what you mean. Thank you, Reza. Yeah, that's the way to do it. I've seen architecture require maths. No. Thank you, Professor. You're most welcome. Thank you so much. You are most welcome. You're most welcome. Thank you so much for letting me know. In 11th, which subject take up for architecture or design? Razan, you want to take that one?
Again, for DIDI itself, we don't have any specific subject requirements, but if there's a specific university you're looking at, maybe contact them.
Okay, I think we have 2 more. Thanks, you're most welcome. No questions from the audience. Thank you, everyone. Lovely having you, and we hope to see you soon. Stay in touch. Razan is your contact person. Razan, thank you for organizing this, and Almond and other people for being there in the background. Complete support, amazing teamwork, amazing audience. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
You
Goodbye,
too.
teacher. Goodbye, professor.
Bye.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you. Thank you. Good work, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.